And we are back. We just finished watching 1985's Commando, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes. We caught this on Hulu. And
Disney Plus, actually.
Oh, right. Disney Plus. Hulu, Disney Plus. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, what film embodies the heart of Disney more than Commando?
I know I've said this in the past, but I really hope that they don't get rid of Hulu. I feel like they should keep their adult stuff on Hulu and just keep their other stuff, their Marvel, Disney, whatever stuff, Star Wars.
I think basically the way they're working it out is the really higher profile stuff will be put on Disney, whereas lower budget or less advertised or independent stuff will be on Hulu.
But I mean, I hope they don't get rid of it because I have friends.
No, I really hope they don't get rid of it either.
I have friends that live in London and they don't have Hulu. They have Disney, and Disney has everything. Yeah.
We'll see.
There should be a separation.
I'm sure there's some reason that probably will be negated. I mean, look what happened to HBO, HBO Go, HBO Max, Time Warner. Now Time Warner is breaking up with Discovery after merging with them.
What a disaster. Who understands it, actually?
I don't know. It's basically a bunch of accountants trying to justify their paychecks.
According to the IMDb page, a retired Special Forces colonel tries to save his daughter, who was abducted by his former subordinate. This is directed by Mark L. Lester, with writing credits to Jeph Loeb, Matthew Weisman, Steven E. de Souza, and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as John Matrix. It shows you how much I paid attention at the movies. I think I thought Matrix was just like
his code name.
Yeah.
No, that was his name.
That was
his actual name. He's
so crazy.
From a long line of Matrixes.
All these decades, and I've always assumed that Matrix was just like his code name or something.
Well, it's funny, Schwarzenegger, his action movies, you don't really remember the characters' names too much. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was Dutch in Predator, but it's like nobody remembers that his name was Dutch.
No.
Nobody remembers his name was Matrix. What was his name in Running Man? I don't know. He was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was larger than the character, the man behind the character.
Always.
Physically, literally.
So this is something that you and I have seen repeatedly over the years.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Nice enough, it still holds up. I was still thoroughly entertained.
It is the mold
Yeah.
that all the other films use. Seriously, the giant, hyper-masculine
Yes.
hero, the one-man army,
One-man-army.
killing people and having just a witty little tidbit to just add at the end to just make it
friend.
so.
He's dead tired.
I let him go.
I let him go. God damn
Brilliant.
It. He had the best lines and the best delivery.
I just imagine while he was sitting on the plane and preparing the blanket, he's just like thinking in his head, what could I say after I kill this guy? Come on. Well, those improv classes got to kick in.
He even says in the film, I'll be back.
That was a funny thing. There are two spots in the film where they reference Terminator lines.
Yeah.
There was I'll be back and there was fuck you asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's the same character in every film. It's sort of like a meta thing.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Before meta existed.
Yeah. That would be something. Actually. And it's the sweet spot. It's an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half. It's
action, ridiculous.
The pacing is nonstop. It goes from one thing to another. He's killing these guys, and those guys lead him to the next batch of guys he has to kill.
Yeah.
And those guys lead him to the final batch of guys he has to kill.
Yeah.
It really was like the bar for those type of action films for so long.
Yeah. And this is like in his dominion, right? Because he's just coming off of Terminator, which came out the year before.
Yeah.
This is now 85, and he's going into Predator and Running Man and all these other films that are just catapulting him to just mega stardom.
He had a iconic decade.
Yes,
of
he
work.
really did.
Yeah.
He really, really did. And it's kind of interesting because we don't have that anymore. Like, I mean, you have your Tom Cruises, but there used to be a point in time where there was one star, usually an action star, that sort of signaled this kind of, I don't even know
summer
how
blockbuster
I was
action
gonna say
fest.
summer blockbuster season, right? And it just went on. And then it was weird because then he became somebody else, who then became somebody else, who then became, I think, Will Smith for a while.
Well, yeah, I know they were really pushing that. It was like, oh, it's summer. And I think it was always around Independence Day because he was in Independence
Day.
They were like, okay, it's Will Smith's
summer
movie coming out now.
Yeah,
so he had Independence Day, he had Men in Black, Wild Wild West, which is a hot steaming pile of crap.
Right.
I would probably say he was the last one.
Yes. I mean, to an extent, Jason Statham, but
Jason Statham was always in sort of like lower budget. They weren't blockbusters.
No.
You still have Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise is kind of diluted because it's sort of like he's the guy from Mission Impossible, and then he's in Magnolia.
Right.
And he's doing all this other stuff. He's getting nominated. Yeah, he's getting nominated for Oscars, and it's sort of like, no, the action guy doesn't get nominated for Oscars.
Right. He is exclusively for, what is it? Tug Speedman.
Yes.
That's who he is. He just does that movie times 9.
Yeah. Every year, it's just another action spectacle.
Exactly. Are you sitting down? This movie is 40 years old. This movie is old enough to have a mortgage and kids.
Yeah. Kids that are graduating college and stuff.
That's crazy.
I remember when this came out.
I saw this in the theater.
I never got to see this in the theater because I don't know why, but I do remember a friend of mine had a birthday party, and there was I had to make a card for them, and there was like a ad for this movie in the New York Post that said "Let's Party," so I cut that out and turned that into a birthday card for my friend. Because that was like the big fun line in the movie. He says, "Let's party."
Yeah.
I love
you
Schwarzenegger.
Have to do it in his voice.
The lines wouldn't work if it wasn't for that accent. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's just perfect.
I mean, and it's so funny because we've seen this on TV, cable, whatever, over the years. I don't think we've sat through it from start to finish like we did just now, but it is so funny because I completely forgot, like, the opening sequence is just him and Jenny, like, having these daughter moments,
eating ice cream and rubbing it on each other's faces.
Yes, and like frolicking and
feeding a fawn.
Yes, and also getting those lessons and whatnot. But it's like, it's so wholesome and sweet, and then it devolves into just this like mayhem, just Arnold just murdering people,
killing people, and screaming, "Jenny, Jenny."
So 40 years. That's crazy. And I love that even in 40 years, this movie has held up. This movie has held up. It is still fun. It's
still fun. There's nothing you could look at it and be like, oh, that's problematic now. No, it's just ridiculous carnage.
Yeah. And I think I agreed with you. I think while we were watching, you were like, did that sequence already happen? Like the guys just like the bomb and then they're just like flying. And it's like, I felt like I saw that sequence 2 or 3 times.
They were reusing footage and stuntmen. I mean, they just got a bunch of guys and they gave them all like the worst mustache. It was like, okay, that means you're Spanish. Like there was one scene where I swear the guy under his hat had blonde hair peeking out, but he had like this thick, robust Mexican bandito mustache.
Yes. And I don't know what accent Dan Hedaya was doing. What the hell?
That was back when like everybody was trying to do like the Tony Montana accent. So I'm surprised he didn't bust out with a couple of mangs in there. Hey, man. What you talking about, man? Like he answers the phone. Yes, this is the president. El Presidente.
And it's interesting because this, obviously, I think you mentioned it, like the subgenre of the one-man army. You see this replicated in other films, even to an extent, like something like Taken, right? Where it's a father going to these extremes to get back his daughter.
Yeah, because everybody else is just unhelpful or completely inept.
And yes, exactly. And same thing here. Like, it's funny, like we were watching it at the end, like, oh yeah, now you come. After he's just completely annihilated everybody on this island.
Finally,
like,
General Kirby shows up. Yeah. You left anything for us? Just bodies.
Just bodies.
Literally, he killed everybody on that island. He like committed genocide right there.
It's true. true. It's true. I mean, I'm glad that you picked this for Father's Day. This is just
It's a
chef's
great
kiss.
Father's Day film because it's
Yes.
about a dad trying to take care of his
His little
daughter
girl.
in a challenging world.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the other lesson is that violence does solve problems.
Yes. Violence is synonymous with justice.
What do we think of Bennett, played by Vernon Wells? Let's get into it.
Basically, scary, out of shape Freddie Mercury.
He was great in Road Warrior.
He was great in Road Warrior. He was that Mohawk dude that was like doing flips and stuff, but he definitely did not maintain a gym schedule.
No.
I guess the only thing going for him, he was tall.
Yeah.
And
he had crazy eyes.
He had crazy. He was playing that part just as over the top as possible,
he could. And it worked.
Especially at the end, that last scene where like John just sort of psychologically manipulates him. He's like, "You don't want to kill me with a gun. You want to stick the knife in me and twist it." And it's like,
Yes.
and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't need the gun, John. I'm gonna kill you." And then he gets electrocuted and he gets like more strength.
Just ridiculous. He puts a pipe through him and then the smoke comes out through the pipe. And I was like, what? The science, I mean, obviously this didn't go through QA.
There wasn't a scientist on hand to be like, "Oh, actually,
I don't think that works.
that wouldn't
way.
happen that way." A human doesn't have the strength to force a pipe through someone like that.
God damn it. And then, fun facts. Do you want to share with the class what you also
Apparently, Vernon was not the first choice to play Bennett. In fact, he was like brought in a day after filming started because the first choice didn't pull through. Apparently, there were like creative differences. It was supposed to be Wings Hauser.
Yes.
And creative differences put the kibosh on that. But they were like, we already fitted all the clothes to Wings Hauser. So, Vernon, you're going to have to wear that wardrobe. And that's why he moved so weird throughout the whole movie, which he did. I remember we were watching it. And before I read that fact, I was just like, he looks so uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes. And it all makes sense now.
It all makes sense now. Yeah. Those pants were just probably just digging right into his crotch or something. Is that, like, especially like when he's chasing Jenny in the basement, he's almost like twinkle toeing his way through through everything.
I mean, come on. I mean, I'm going to stop you right there because I'm going to give this movie a 10. There's nothing could have made this better. The only thing that could have made this better is if there's like a commentary track to go with it because this is...
You know what? I wonder if they ever did make a special DVD with commentary.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
They should.
I'm sure there's a lot of stories
like,
behind the scenes of this thing.
Yeah, this was fun. This was
this film's
your
a
brain
blast.
off, get the popcorn, get ready to be entertained from start to finish. This is absolute entertainment. And it still holds up. And it's 40 years old. For a film to be still this good 40 years after the fact, because a lot of those movies were disposable. Let's be honest. I mean, it was just like, oh, we have Schwarzenegger. Let's do something quick. Because now he's rising. His stock is going up.
Yeah, and there were so many copycats in this genre. Cobra and...
Cobra with Stallone, yeah, which is very similar.
Oh, yeah, there's so many films where it was just not really that amazing. This was like the father of it all.
Yes.
And it really still works.
Yeah, and it's not intricate. It's not really layered. There's no nuance. It's just... This is what it is.
Well, I think one of the reasons why it holds up is because even back then, it sort of like rode that line between this is like serious action, but it was also funny. So now when people look back on it and they watch it with, oh, this is funny.
Right.
It's like, oh, they're in on it too.
Yeah.
The makers of the film are in on how funny this is. So it's not like those like other films where it was, yeah, this is serious, man. There's nothing funny about this. And when you look back on it, you're laughing at it.
Right.
Whereas this, you're laughing with the movie.
Yeah.
I think that's why it still works because it's not embarrassing.
Yes.
It's almost like it became a parody, but not really.
Right.
And it's just fun. And, I mean, Schwarzenegger's great.
Oh, amazing.
Vernon Wells is crazy as Bennett. Dan Hedaya was his crazy Mexican accent.
Alyssa Milano is
Alyssa
Jenny.
Milano, very young Alyssa Milano. Was that like Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss. And then Ray Don Chong.
Ray Don Chong.
Who's gorgeous.
By the end of the film, it's sort of like, oh, we're all a family now. We're all going home.
Yes.
She hugs and kisses the daughter. It's like the daughter should be like, who the hell's this lady? Why is she hugging me?
Why? Who's she?
And just get in the plane. She's your new mommy.
At the beginning, she was like, please don't hurt me. And he rips the seat out of her car. Yeah. And I was like, what? And of course, she goes to the cop at the mall and she's like, yeah, see this like muscle head over here? I'm frightened.
But then she's all on board with him.
Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah. He wanted to chase and hurt Sully. So what was his name? Jason Patrick Kelly, I think, from the Warriors.
Yeah. And he lets him go.
Yeah. Sully.
Remember how I said you were going to be the last one? I lied.
I lied.
Yeah, that's just so fun. That's so fun. I feel like a staple of a lot of those 80s action Schwarzenegger movies was the one-liner, the zinger, right?
Yeah, and that, of course, got copied by everybody.
Yeah.
It was not enough to kill somebody.
What was it, Cobra? You're the disease, I'm the cure. Was that Cobra?
That was from Cobra. But that's not really a funny one-liner, and that's why nobody likes Cobra. Nobody cares about Cobra.
Yeah. But it came out around the same time. I think they were banking on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for a while there
was a lot.
Like there was a ton of action
I remember there was
in the 80s.
Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer, which was okay. I like that. He blows up Gene Simmons' head at the end. What else? You had the Missing in Action series with Chuck Norris.
You had the Rambo movies.
The Rambo movies, which became progressively more insane as the series went on.
Yes.
But even those, like, they didn't have that tongue-in-cheek humor. Like, Rambo was killing people, and then he would give a speech about how he was abandoned by this country in Vietnam. It was not...
It wasn't shits and giggles.
It wasn't. Yeah, exactly. He was a genuinely disturbed man.
Yeah.
John Matrix he's having a blast. Yes, and the thing the thing that's funny about Matrix is he's just running through because he knows that every bullet is completely allergic to him and will not go into his body. No. He doesn't care. People are shooting directly at him and he's just like running towards them.
Yes.
He knows. He just knows the bullets will not hurt me.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he didn't get one scratch except for at the end when he's fighting Bennett.
Yeah,
but
somehow Bennett was like his physical match too. It was like,
what?
They're like struggling with just muscle with the knives, and it's just like Bennett's arms are thinner than mine.
Yes.
And somehow he is matching Schwarzenegger's strength.
That is crazy. Crazy. Not to be believed. Not to be believed. I mean, there's really nothing to critique here. This is a fun movie. I mean,
if you were a jerk, you would critique this movie and point out all like the little bugs and stuff.
No,
but you're just supposed to enjoy this movie.
This
and
is a
like I said, popcorn summer. Well, and now a popcorn Father's Day movie because this is what we've chosen for Father's Day. I enjoyed this movie far more than I Love My Dad.
Which, okay, fair. I agree with you. I mean, it was the old bait and switch because that trailer had no business being that trailer. We thought we were going to get a straight-up comedy, and it was not. I mean, we should have watched this one
with the kids and the other one just us.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Do you think the kids would have liked this? I feel like the pacing was fine, but I wonder if, like, we grew up with Schwarzenegger. We knew what an event all his movie premieres were. Remember?
Well, the thing was, this came out before that, though. Like, summer meant a Schwarzenegger movie.
Oh. I see what
this was
saying.
Like one of the first ones. Mm-hmm. Prior to this, it was Terminator, and Terminator, it was just sort of like he was the bad guy. The previous movie that he headlined was Conan the Barbarian.
I freaking love that film.
And Conan the Barbarian is absolutely excellent, but...
We should have watched Red Sonja
I don't think it was... Oh, screw Red Sonja. But Conan the Barbarian wasn't like the big summer blockbuster movie. I definitely know kids did not go see that movie because it was rated R and there was like a lot of sexual content. Like he's having sex with that witch and he just throws her in the fireplace.
I think we went to see it, but we were seeing like Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis and like the Death Wish movies. So don't go by us.
My mom was not taking us to see Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. My dad was legit into action. Like we saw like all the Rambos. My brother was totally into like James Bond. This is why I love Roger Moore. Like Roger Moore's my James Bond because he's the one that I grew up with. So.
Oh yeah, he's the guy.
We went to see all sorts of nonsense in the theater. I mean, I told you I saw Alien and I was like, I'm not eating. Sorry, I'm never eating again.
But this was before it was like, okay, this is Schwarzenegger's. I think this is what like launched that. Like, I feel like Commando was the real Schwarzenegger movie that made him the summer blockbuster guy.
I feel like it's in his DNA to be that showman, to be that like hype man. Like
I think that helped too because he will sell the crap out of anything. And if you read about him, he's a smart guy. He bought like all that real estate
in Santa Monica.
Yeah, he pretty much owned all of that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, it's the greatest.
Yeah.
Or, he'll sell the crap out of everything.
And then, like, my other favorite was like those Terminator films because there've been so many. He'd be at the red carpet. He's like, oh yeah, people are already asking me about the next one. And it's like, dude, no one's asking you.
No one's asking you about anything. But he's building up that interest.
Yeah. And this is like marketing before it became an art form, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's really nothing to critique here. It's a very basic story. The beginning is the setup between the father and the daughter. You see that they have this wonderful, loving relationship. He's got this like person within the military who's still a friend who reaches out to him. Is like, oh yeah, your guys are being killed one by one, and I'm gonna leave these two guys because they're the best.
They're good, John.
They're really good, and they get killed. Like, I mean, the helicopter hadn't even cleared, and then all of a sudden bullets start flying.
Yeah,
and they're both dead within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I love the reason why that one guy gets killed and like the other guy's wounded, and the guy's like, how'd you know? And he's like, didn't you smell them? Somehow John Matrix is like Wolverine. He can just
smell danger,
catch whiffs of bad guys on the wind. And he's just like,
he's like Peter Parker. His Matrix senses were tingling.
His Matrix sense. There you go.
So another thing that we learned was that this movie did phenomenal numbers. Yeah. My God. It was like a $9 million budget and wound up making $57.5 million. That's a good return on investment.
Back in 85? Yeah. That was big money.
On investment. So obviously we're going to go down the sequel route, but Schwarzenegger didn't want to come back because he wanted the script to be compelling. And then the screenplay writer, what was the story? He was going to fight people in a big building.
He originally pitched Commando 2, and it was John Matrix. He was going to fight a bunch of terrorists in a high-rise building. That was the plot. And if that sounds familiar, that's because the script for Commando 2 eventually became Die Hard. And you could totally see that the same writer was involved because whenever Bruce Willis would dispatch somebody, it would...
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah. Great. Die Hard is full of great one-liners.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely see the footprint of the writer, Steven de Souza. He also did Running Man, which also a vehicle for Schwarzenegger.
And Richard Dawson as like the heavy.
Richard Dawson, yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him in more stuff. I want to say that's the only thing he ever did other than Family Feud.
In modern times, he was in other older films. I think he wasn't he in The Great Escape?
Was he? Maybe.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
But that's a different era of filmmaking.
Yeah.
I think The Running Man was like the last.
He was great in that though. He
was great. You were so happy when he gets his.
Yeah. So this film is rated R, and I think at the time it was considered excessively violent. It didn't feel excessively violent, or was it just me?
I think we've just become accustomed to more than that. It's been 40 years of a steady, slow escalation in the type of violence that they show on screen.
Right.
Well, we talked about this when we were talking about Friday the 13th. That film is super tame.
Yeah.
Same thing with the original Halloween. They are super tame films as compared to what you see now. Now it's like there's guts being torn out and falling on the floor. It's really.
I mean, you see that in South Park.
Yeah. It could be really grisly.
Butters.
And we have just sort of I mean, look at those Final Destination movies.
Oh, we have to watch those.
That's the only reason why we watch them, to watch people die in just horrific, gooey ways.
Yeah. Over the top.
Over the top. And I think it's just as time has gone on, that evolution has just grown. Like Commando is probably, it's like, oh my God, it's so grisly. Did you see when that guy gets his arm chopped off?
Yeah.
That's probably the most brutal thing in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just an explosion and they fly across the room,
or to the forehead,
or a couple of squibs on their chest. And they're like tiny squibs of blood just going, exploding all over their body. And then them doing the dance of death. There were so many dances of death in this movie.
Yes.
Now when somebody gets shot with a machine gun and they're using squibs, it's just huge geysers of blood and pieces of meat flying out and heads exploding, arms exploding, legs exploding. Yeah, over time it has progressed. But Commando, it still probably gets a rated R, maybe for that arm getting chopped off.
And you do have the one curse word.
There's a curse word. Oh, the guy who gets his scalp shaved off with the with the buzzsaw blade. There's that. So it would probably still get an R rating, but it would be like considered like mild.
Yeah.
Whenever they do the ratings, there's like extreme violence, graphic violence. Probably just be violence.
Yeah. Could this film be made now, you think?
I don't know. I'm not saying it couldn't be made because it's politically incorrect or anything. I just wonder if audiences would accept a new version of this.
What do you mean?
Action movies have changed. It's sort of like there's like action comedy. You don't really see too much of like that one-man army sort of stuff outside of martial arts movies.
Right.
And those just feel different. Like those have like that hyped up level of violence where it's like extreme. Like The Raid is so brutal.
Right. Monkey Man also.
Yeah, Monkey Man.
This one-man army.
Sort of, yeah, but even that has like more heavy story elements.
Yes, for sure.
Now, like Commando, you're moving at such a fast pace and there's like so many things that you're smiling and chuckling and laughing at. It's rare when you see somebody do something that works that way now. Like if maybe like James Gunn did it, he's good at balancing that sort of, this is action, here's the humor, here's the story. And he knows how to mix all that together and mesh it where it's not one isn't heavier than the other. You're not sort of like rolling your eyes. If there is any sort of like thing where it's sort of like, look at me, I'm a macho guy, I'm taking out all these dudes, you're in on sort of like the joke. Like there's like that scene in the Suicide Squad where Peacemaker and Bloodsport are just going through that camp and they're like taking turns killing people and basically trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, that's the humor because it's like a pissing contest.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, like Peacemaker wins the pissing contest because like Bloodsport's like, yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah. That works. Yeah. Now, Commando, it would really need to be handled like that.
Yeah.
I don't think you could just have that story and not have that sort of humor and that sort of knowing nod to the audience where it's sort of like, please don't take this seriously. This is just action-y fun.
Well, we do have the example of Taken.
Taken's different. Taken's more serious. There is no humor in Taken.
Right, but that works, and it's basically the same story. I think the element that wouldn't work is the Radon Chung character, because I think that's a little weird.
That's sort of like the tacked on possibly sexual relationship that's going to happen. And that was another thing about they always had to like tack on some sort of love interest. Yeah. And it wasn't really necessary. I mean, when they're making fun of it on The Simpsons, it doesn't really add anything or work. And that's why you kind of don't really see too much of that now. Taken's different. Taken was far more serious, and also the hero isn't just this indestructible He-Man.
Right.
He's like thinking, he's planning, he's like he's got listening devices, he's doing all of this other work. He's not just running in, killing people and
having bullets bounce off of him.
The bullets were scared of Schwarzenegger in this movie.
As they should be.
Yeah.
As they should be.
Yeah, there's no two guys, I'm a Green Beret, I eat Green Berets for breakfast. It's none of that.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like, kill this guy. And then by the end, somebody's strapped to a chair and is getting tortured.
So funny. I just remembered there's that scene where he's in the hotel room and he has the big fight with Bill Duke. And of course, because it's the 80s, there's that scene with a woman who's topless. And it's like, why is there this adjacent door between these two hotel rooms?
And for some reason, some guy is filming himself having sex with his girlfriend with just huge...
She might have been a hooker. Who knows?
Huge boobs. Colossal boobs just shaking violently. It's just... What is the point of that? They could have just gone through a wall into nothing, but it's just like, okay.
Here's your gratuitous.
What are we going to do? Just have lonely salesmen? Maybe a family on vacation? No. Guy making an amateur porn movie with some huge-breasted woman.
So there goes your R rating.
Yeah. I'm sure in the script it was just woman, and then while they were filming it, they were like, "Can she have huge boobs?" When the guy was just like, "Of course." God damn it.
It sounds extremely plausible. I mean, there's no critique here. I think from start to finish, this is a fun ride. It is absolutely a 10. What do you say?
Nothing's a 10.
Get out of here.
Nothing's a 10.
Get out of here.
Nothing's a 10. But for entertaining me as a kid, entertaining me for 40 years, I'll give this a 9. Solid.
Kudos
9,
to you, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Excellent,
Thank you so much for
work,
this.
Mr. Schwarzenegger.
Yes, excellent. We enjoyed it. And it'll be interesting to see if this gets brought back. I mean, they did bring back Prey, and it was magnificent. They've brought back Top Gun. Don't explain it to me. It doesn't matter because it made $1 gajillion at the box office. Go figure. I think I just heard on 10/10 Wins, they're bringing back Romy and Michelle. Not an action movie, I understand. But I'm just saying, it's been several decades.
If it builds up any kind of audience, they're just going to be like, let's see if we can make a cash grab.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't understand that new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, but apparently there's going to be another one, so go figure. But I wouldn't mind seeing another Commando. I'd be curious what they'd do with that.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. Eventually, everything gets reused.
Absolutely. There are no new stories anymore. But this was fun. So thank you so much to the team behind it. Excellent. I'm super excited that it made that much money.
Oh, yeah. And I can only imagine how much it has made since then. Because this film got to ride out the VHS explosion.
Yes.
DVDs, all of that. It made a ton of money because of that.
Yeah. And it was nice to see something from a bygone era. This was like the epitome of an 80s action film. Had the one guy who was like the headliner, was the big draw. Schwarzenegger is magnificent in this thing. The script is not going to put you in any kind of thought pretzel. It is what it is. Yeah. And it's just fun.
There's no real twists in this movie where you're just like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yes, yeah. This was a fun watch. And I absolutely recommend it. Again, 1985's Commando. And with that, before we wrap it up, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And to all the daddies out there, thank you for everything that you do, for being there, for loving the kids, for being great men. We appreciate it. Happy Father's Day. And if you are missing your dad, we're sending you love and hugs. And with that, we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.